Sup, y'all? Welcome back to Saved by the Code, where I discuss technologies rooted in computer code that can save us from the corrupt fiat money regime. My name is Perry, and let's go. Got the juice. As always, I always got the juice for ya. This market never stops. The excitement never stops. The craziness never stops. And today, this past week, is no different. And so, to begin this episode, to kick this episode off, I'm going to start with a story about all the rage right now, all the attention right now in Bitcoin is over these NFTs that have been popping up all over the Bitcoin blockchain. And this was by not an intended outcome. An upgrade was implemented into Bitcoin, I want to say, within the past 2 years called Taproot. And it was intended to increase the privacy of Bitcoin transactions. However, this has also resulted in this unintended consequence of the ability to mint NFTs on Bitcoin's blockchain. And other tokens as well called BRC20 tokens. Just like on Ethereum, there's ERC20 tokens, there's NFTs on Ethereum. Well, now this is happening on Bitcoin. And this past week saw a massive spike in fees and some congestion on the Bitcoin blockchain due to the influx of these NFTs called ordinal inscriptions. That's what they're called on Bitcoin. And it just congested the network, caused fees to spike to, it was like around $30, $40 was the average transaction fee, which still, like I mentioned, is so much lower for larger transactions, than MasterCard or Visa or, Western Union or any of those kinds of money transmitting services. So, it's like, even if you're sending $10,000 paying a $30 fee, that's, even though it's typically like $1 on Bitcoin, but the spike in activity caused the transaction fee to spike because the higher you're willing to pay for your transaction fee on Bitcoin, the quicker your transaction will be processed. And that goes for pretty much every blockchain. And so, yeah, there is a rift in the Bitcoin developer community, and a debate is raging over whether or not to censor these NFTs. And it could go either way. There are good and bad for both scenarios. Right now, the consensus is to just let it ride and see how things play out. And maybe moving these things over to the layer 2 Lightning Network scaling solution on Bitcoin to offload some of those transactions and decongest the base layer of Bitcoin blockchain, which is something that's being discussed. And if they don't change anything and they just allow this to run its course, this is good for miners, because a big thing, something that's been popping up as well, is that whenever the block reward for Bitcoin, which gets halved every 4 years, it trends to zero naturally. So every 4 years, the reward, the incentive to mine Bitcoin gets cut in half. And the idea is that the price will increase over time so that this cut in the block reward, the halving is what it's called, won't have, you'll still be incentivized because in 4 years, or next year is the next halving. Bitcoin's price is speculated to be a lot higher. So these halvings result in less Bitcoin being out there, so scarcity. So the thought is that the price will increase. And this has happened like clockwork ever since Bitcoin's inception. Right around the halving is when the price starts to explode. And this happened, like I said, in 2020, in 2016, in 2012, like clockwork, literally. 2012, 2013 was the peak. 2016, the halving happened. 2017 was the peak. 2020, the halving happened. And 2021 was the peak. Like, it's literally like clockwork. And I see this time being no different. However, like I said, this block reward trends to zero. And in 120 years, when the block reward is zero, the miners are, it's speculated that they will rely on transaction fees alone once that block reward is not there. And for the first time since 2017, the transaction fees outpaced the block reward. And that solves the problem, literally, of what will miners be able to survive just off transaction fees whenever the block reward runs out. And yes, because this proved it. All these NFTs being minted, all these BRC20 tokens being created, the fees outdid the block reward for the first time since, like I said, 2017. And I mean, there's like 7 Bitcoin in transaction fees in some blocks, and that's huge. That's way higher than usual. And it also illustrates the demand for these things, and the market tells all. The market will tell you what it wants, and who knows, maybe this is just a passing fad or whatever. However, there's obviously demand for it, and miners loved it. They made a lot of money this last week, more than they thought they would have without these ordinals, and so they loved it. People want to trade them. The only thing is like I said, it congests the network because Bitcoin was supposed to be just digital gold. That's all. No NFTs, no other BRC20 tokens, just digital gold for storing value, transferring value, all that good stuff that Bitcoin is. And it does that very well. However, with all these NFTs and BRC20s on it, now it's like kind of like Ethereum. But the market wants it. And what do? Do you roll back that update and just take it all away and take those transaction fees away from the miners and not give people the ability to put NFTs on Bitcoin whenever their market obviously wants it? And there is a layer 2 scaling solutions like Lightning Network where these things could move to decongest the base Bitcoin blockchain so that we don't see those fee spikes. It's just a sticky situation. It's quite a pickle, as the kids say these days. I guess everyone says that. Quite a pickle. However, they're just letting it go for now. And it seems the transaction fees have gone pretty much back to where they were within this week, or as of this weekend. And they're back down to like $1-2. And so it's just a spike was seen last week in congestion, a lot of backlog transactions, because if you aren't willing to pay the transaction, if you're only going to pay $2 for your transaction fee, whenever the average is $30, you're going to be waiting for a while for your transaction to be processed. And this was due to the high volume of NFT minting on the Bitcoin blockchain. So what do? Do we roll back these updates? Do we let it go? It solves the transaction fee thing. But it's also like in 120 years, whenever the block reward's out, Bitcoin should be everywhere. It should be omnipresent, ubiquitous. And I mean, the amount of people transacting on the blockchain would have increased significantly by then. So, I mean, I don't even think we would need these NFTs and ordinals. And I think Bitcoin should just be digital gold. I don't think these NFTs and everything, that should be reserved for, that's what Ethereum's for. That's what Cardano's for. That's what those other blockchains are for. Solana. Bitcoin should just be digital gold. However, rolling back an update, censoring, it's just, I don't know. We'll see what happens. Yeah, I'm going to be following this very closely. Yeah, like I said, this is just an unintended consequence of an upgrade that happened within the past 2 years called Taproot. And yeah, but the demand is there. People want them. Miners love it. It's just, it causes congestion and a very intense spike in transaction fees and that's a problem for places that rely on Bitcoin, that don't have money. Argentina, Turkey, Lebanon, places in Africa, pretty much the entire continent. These people need Bitcoin. Like, they need it, or else they can't even move money. They can't do anything with their money because they don't have any type of inclusive financial system. By the way, so many people are excluded from the global financial system because they don't make enough money. They don't have the proper identity documents. We don't want you, get out of our financial system. They're just exiled, literally, because you're not fancy enough for our amazing money. It's just insanity. And these people can't even get bank accounts, and you're just screwed having to use like Western Union, which charges ridiculous fees to move money, whenever you could just use Bitcoin, no questions asked, no identity needed. It's so much better. And but they can't do $30 transaction fees when they're trying to send $30. It just doesn't work. So Bitcoin needs to scale, and Lightning Network is being implemented in a lot of places, and it works. It needs work. It's not perfect. However, it's there and it's being used and tested and built out every day. And this really brought a lot of attention to how important the second layer scaling solution, and for pretty much every blockchain, they're going to need scaled. Scaling these decentralized computing networks is a very large, difficult task. And however, it's possible. It is totally 100% possible. And I would just love to see a world where Bitcoin can process thousands of transactions a second on the Lightning Network instantly, super low fees, which I totally see happening within the next, 5-10 years, if not sooner. The Lightning Network has quite a bit of capacity, and there's always going to be trade-offs. It's going to be quicker, cheaper. However, you're going to sacrifice decentralization for it. So, the big transactions, you wouldn't even touch the Lightning Network. If you're sending $100,000, $1 million, you're just going to use the base Bitcoin blockchain. Even when the fees spike, your transaction will go through. If you pay the higher fee, it will go through. Sending $1 million for $30 is amazing still. Gets there in 10 minutes. So much better than traditional financial systems. No questions asked. Why are you sending more than $10,000? That's insanity too. The whole $10,000 thing in the traditional banking system. None of your business, If you send over $10,000, you get all these questions asked and all this. What are you doing? Obviously, you're doing something illegal. It's insane. We just need Bitcoin so bad. So yeah, it has calmed down since last week, this NFT craziness on Bitcoin. And maybe it'll just be passing fad. Nothing. They don't even need to change anything. And you can still put NFTs on Bitcoin and whatnot. However, who knows? We'll see what happens. Exciting times for sure. All right. Next story here about Ethereum, which apparently had a little hiccup over the weekend. Well, it was like Thursday, Friday of last week. And the blockchain stopped finalizing transactions for a short period of time. And that's not good. A blockchain is not supposed to do that. It's just supposed to pump out blocks every however long. It should just continuously do it without any hiccups whatsoever. That's the point of a blockchain. This has never happened on Bitcoin. However, it's no big deal, really. It just stopped for I think it was not even an hour. However, that's still not supposed to happen whatsoever. And they were still trying to figure out the cause of it. And apparently they did implement an upgrade that smoothed everything out. An update that smoothed everything out. And, these systems are incredibly complicated. And sure, these things are bound to happen. It was just a small hiccup, not that big of a deal. Like I said, though, it shouldn't happen. Shouldn't happen, but hey, this is what you get whenever you are messing with these complex technologies. It's just bound to happen. And it says here, it took place last Thursday or Friday, I want to say. Thursday, May 11th. And like I said, they didn't know the root cause of it. And it experienced a delay of, in reality, the finalization process experienced a delay of approximately 19 minutes. Not a huge deal, however, still, shouldn't happen. The thing should just crank out blocks. Like Bitcoin every 10 minutes on average can be, which is where the difficulty adjustment comes in, but I'm not going to get into that. Every 10 minutes, Bitcoin pumps out a block. Boom, boom, boom. It's like a heartbeat. And this is because of it operates on a different kind of consensus mechanism. Ethereum is proof of stake. Bitcoin is proof of work, which is how the entire blockchain reaches agreement, consensus on whether or not transactions are valid. Anyone's trying to push through a double spend. These reaching an agreement on the validity of transactions is how these decentralized computing networks work, and they operate on differing mechanisms. Like I said, Bitcoin is proof of work, where you need those big warehouses full of computers guessing numbers and competing to earn the right to add a block to the chain to earn that Bitcoin reward. Instead, on Ethereum, proof of stake, you don't need all those big warehouses full of computers consuming energy. All you do is lock up your Ethereum in a staking contract. And this is the equivalent of the computer hardware on Bitcoin. Instead of computer hardware, you just use your coins. This model is more centralized in my view, in a lot of people's views. It almost recreates the older systems that we already have. The more money you have, the more say you have in things, and the bigger stake you have, the better chance the more influence you have on the network, and the better chance you have of mining the next block. However, there are trade-offs. You don't need all the computer hardware, energy savings, but things like this happen, hiccups, and Bitcoin is the absolute most decentralized, secure blockchain. Ethereum's damn good though. For it being proof of stake. It used to be like Bitcoin. It used to be proof of work. They did this the end of last year. They transitioned to proof of stake for the energy savings and whatnot. And it's just a different kind of ecosystem. And I didn't want like that. Like I said, I think proof of work is the absolute best one, the one that Bitcoin operates on, and a lot of people do. It's the most secure, it's the most decentralized, more difficult to scale. However, we're seeing scaling solutions on Bitcoin. They're scaling Ethereum still needs scaled. Like it only processes, it's only like 2 or 3 times faster than Bitcoin, and that's still not enough for global adoption. However, there are layer 2s for Ethereum 2 scaling solutions. But like I said, these hiccups shouldn't happen. And here's this next story. Ethereum patch set to fix transaction finality challenges after second bout disrupts the network. And apparently it's fixed. So just a small hiccup. Still shouldn't happen. But hey, whatever. It's still pumping out blocks now. Everything's all right. I think Ethereum's awesome. I'm not hating it all. I think it's great. It's a really interesting, cool project. And it's more versatile than Bitcoin. You can develop applications on it. You can, with NFTs, the decentralized exchanges, there's a lot you can do on Ethereum. And that's what Ethereum's for. It isn't digital gold. It's not the absolute most decentralized, secure blockchain. That's what Bitcoin is. And we desperately need Bitcoin. That's an incredibly valuable use case. However, these things like we also, I think, blockchains like Ethereum and Cardano have a place in the crypto world as well, because there's obviously massive interest in. I think NFTs are really interesting. People love them. They're really fun, and they're I thought they were silly at first. Honestly, I wrote them off as stupid, but then I worked for an NFT project when I moved to Los Angeles. And that was awesome. Such a great experience. And I really got into NFTs and appreciated them. And they're just, I'm in love with them now. And so, yeah, I mean, there's obviously interest for those things, as we're seeing with what happened on Bitcoin recently, which was an unintended consequence. However, people love NFTs. They're super into them and they want these things. So, hey, give them what they want, you know? So maybe it would be better to keep the NFTs and stuff on Bitcoin because, hey, miners make money, people like them, but like I said, the congestion is a big, that's an issue. for people that actually need Bitcoin instead of people trading NFTs. Oh, what about the person in Argentina who needs to send money back home to their poor family who can't even eat, but they can't send it because the network's congested and the fees are too high. But this is what Lightning Network is for. So we'll see what happens. But apparently Ethereum is pumping out the blocks again. The patch fixed everything. Everything's just fine and dandy now. But shouldn't happen. Should not happen. All right. Next story here. Binance, one of the largest actually the largest cryptocurrency exchange in the entire world, announces its exit from Canada, citing regulatory tensions. Yeah, it's just, this has been happening this year a lot. This has been like the regulatory year where, the corrupt SEC and apparently the Canadian Securities Administrators, the CSA, is now taking action against the horrible crypto industry. They're just terrible. Get them out of here. It's just shooting yourself in the foot because these exchanges just go to other places that are welcoming. And there are many places in the world that are very welcoming to cryptocurrency and blockchain. And so they just go there and the country benefits from it. The tax money, the influx of venture capital, businesses popping up in their country. It's just this stifling of innovation and this heavy-handed approach to all this stuff in the U.S. and Canada is just so mind-bogglingly stupid. However, this is the world we live in, and Bittrex just left the U.S., a pretty large cryptocurrency exchange, because of regulatory concerns. Coinbase is fighting the US SEC right now in the United States, and it seems to be that they're getting quite a bit of support, which is actually the next story that I have here. SEC slammed by U.S. Chamber of Commerce for regulatory approach to cryptocurrencies and Coinbase filing. Yeah, Coinbase is going hard at the SEC, and they vowed to fight the SEC in the United States because of their absurd overstepping their bounds and just completely stifling innovation with these insane lack of regulatory clarity, which is by design, just confusion. No one knows anything. They can't even identify. They won't even answer what cryptocurrencies are securities or not. And it's just so pathetic. And even people within the SEC are like, this is ridiculous. Like this lady here, Hester Pierce, she's really cool. She's called Crypto Mom. She is in the SEC. I forget. Is she the commissioner? SEC commissioner Hester Pierce has been speaking how ridiculous the SEC is and their lack of clarity. And I wish she could be the chair instead of Gary freaking Gensler, who got roasted about not being able to answer a simple question that he was asked about whether or not Ethereum's a security. He just wouldn't answer it. It was ridiculous. I have it in one of my previous videos. He was like shaking in the video. It was insane. It's just something strange and weird going on. And I think we could see a break soon. I would just, how it would, if Coinbase wins against the SEC here, and if XRP wins against the SEC, they're in a lawsuit. It's another cryptocurrency with the SEC. Talk about a bull run. We will see price increases like we've probably never seen before. Because if cryptocurrency, and this would probably happen within this year, if not within the next 3 to 6 months, and if we start winning again, and it is like kind of happening because people are like, this is ridiculous. Like, it's literally preventing innovation. It's causing what's called brain drain. Just entrepreneurs just leaving the country, going elsewhere. I mean, it's so ridiculous to resist these things. And I mean, we all know why. It's because Bitcoin is an actual threat to, the US dollar, and it undermines it. And that's what they think, at least. Of course, they will think that and push that because that's how they make their money, and, got to keep us all enslaved while they get enriched. and Bitcoin takes that away from them. But that's why we see this massive amount of resistance and nonsensical regulation or lack thereof. And so I would just, it would be amazing, because that would solidify, if the SEC was forced to provide clear regulations in favor of cryptocurrencies, talk about a bull run. That would be unreal, and I think we'll see it happen soon. And because I mean, the Coinbase is fighting them, XRP is fighting them, even the guy that roasted Gary Gensler was like, "This is insane. What are you doing?" Like, and he was seemed to be objective, which is what a regulator should be, not subjective and like, I don't like crypto, so I'm just gonna, it's so ridiculous. And so, just another criminal, illegally operating organization, SEC, just like every other government organization, illegally operating, the usual. And yeah, so Coinbase is fighting them hard. And yeah, the United States Chamber of Commerce, the SEC is facing criticism from the United States Chamber of Commerce over its lack of clarity regarding which digital assets are securities under federal law. This issue has immense implications for every person involved in the $1 trillion digital asset economy. A court filing by the Chamber states. I mean, that's huge. That's huge. They are just being objective, and that's amazing to see. And yeah, the SEC has refused to engage in any systematic process or rulemaking to explain what its claimed authority means, instead offering one-off enforcement actions and public speeches. It's just so bad. They're just a bunch of thugs going around just like roughing up. Hey, Coinbase, it's so ridiculous. And yeah, it's causing businesses to leave, exchanges to leave. I mean, so hopefully soon here we can see a turn. Agencies ordinarily provide regulatory clarity by promulgating rules of general applicability. It forces agencies to put to paper their regulatory plans, and it provides for fixed perspectives. Yeah, so hopefully we see a change here soon, because that would be such a massive catalyst for a bull run. Oh, that's all we would need. Always something, huh? So yeah, this article about the Hester Pierce lady, the commissioner, says that MiCA could serve as a model for the U.S. And MiCA is the regulatory framework. Markets in crypto assets is a regulatory framework that was approved earlier this year and will likely become law in July this year in Europe. And it's in favor of crypto. The legislation aims to regulate crypto assets and those engaged in transacting them, whether they are people or entities. That makes it the major first step towards the regulation of the industry anywhere thus far. Yeah, so a lot of places are flocking to Europe because of this regulatory clarity, and a lot of venture capital is going to Europe. And it says here, Issue Circle said that VC investment into European crypto projects is almost 10x in 1 year, and can be attributed to new laws like MiCA. And yeah, she's totally right. The U.S. should be looking at, look at Europe. They're not burning alive. Everything's fine over there, and they're allowing cryptocurrency entrepreneurs and businesses and exchanges. They're going to benefit. But the stubborn U.S. will just be in the corner by itself, stamping its feet. As usual. But yeah, she says that this could be a model for the U.S. She said she was not optimistic about the regulatory system, but said Congress is working on some things. The House Financial Committee set to introduce comprehensive legislation to oversee the cryptocurrency sector in the next month or so. Yeah. So, I mean, also, apparently, we will see some regulatory clarity in the next couple of months. That was a story I did covered in one of my previous videos. It should have happened 10 years ago, but we still have no regulation in the United States. No clear regulation in crypto. And it's insanity. And it's really coming to a head. So let's hope we get some clarity here soon. Next story here. LG, the electronics company, files a patent for an NFT trading television. How about that? Yeah. Filed a patent application for its blockchain-based smart TV, which allows users to trade non-fungible tokens, or the NFTs, those newfangled NFTs. That is super cool. They're doing something like this. And, I mean, they're not doing this because they don't think they can make money off of it. You know, these things are happening because this industry is growing at a rapid pace and they see the potential of it. NFTs are here to stay. You know, they're going to be around for forever, for a long time. And these companies are cashing in on that. And because they see the potential, they see where this stuff is going, and that they're here to stay. They're not making this TV because they're like, oh, NFTs are dead, whatever, you know. They're making it because they see the potential of it. And Samsung has also got their hand in the bag. And actually, for the NFT project I worked for, which was called Bright Moments, by the way, if anyone cares, they were partnered with Samsung, and we actually had a lot of TVs from them that we would hang in our galleries. That was the whole thing. This NFT project I worked for was really fun and awesome. Didn't end so well, but their whole thing was going to 10 different cities around the world, minting 1,000 NFTs in each city, and you had to physically come to our gallery to get the NFT, and we would also host events, and it was just so fun and cool. And like I said, we were partnered with Samsung, and we'd have displays. They were vertically oriented televisions where we would display the NFTs. And so yeah, you know, Samsung is in that. It says here, its competitor Samsung announced a new smart TV lineup integrated with an NFT platform, and I saw that firsthand. So I know that is factual. We actually did have a very good relationship with Samsung, the place I worked for, the crypto project I was a part of. And yeah, we're going to see more of this, I'm sure. And, you know, like I said, they're not doing this because they don't think they can make money off of it. The demand is there. And people will buy these things because who wouldn't want to trade NFTs from the comfort of their couch? I know I would. I want to buy a monkey picture for $1 million. That's crazy. All right. Enough of that. This is a wild story. Ron DeSantis really hates CBDCs, central bank digital currencies, and it's great. It really is very bad because the amount of surveillance and control that this would allow banks to have. But like I've mentioned, it's not like these we already have, like, this is already a reality. Like, what do you think your money in your bank account is? It is a central bank digital currency. Like, it's not like it is digital, it's a central bank, and it's a currency. That is what your money in your bank account is. I don't get why, oh no, CBDCs are coming and it's gonna ruin. It's like, we already live in that reality. I don't get this whole CBDC. They're already here. But it's good to see pushback. At least we got someone like Ron DeSantis who actually passed a bill. It is Florida governor signed CBDC bill into law restricting some uses of U.S. and foreign CBDCs. It's great. Like, he's resisting this heavily because he recognizes how bad these things are and that banks are overstepping their bounds. But like I said, they already exist. Restricting the restricted use of central bank digital currencies in Florida. The new law prohibits the use of United States federal CBDCs as money within Florida's Uniform Commercial Code. It also bans the use of CBDCs issued by foreign governments and calls for other states to do the same. You go, Ronnie. This is great to see this pushback. You know, he's very adamant about it, and so are other. I think Ted Cruz is super against him. You know, It's good, but they already exist. I don't get what this is gonna do. Oh, because we just have so much freedom with our money in our bank accounts. Like, it's the same thing. You can get locked out of your bank account. You can get censored. You can. They surveil you. They know what you're buying. Like, what is this? I just don't understand this whole CBDCs. Oh my god, it's nothing like we've ever seen. Like, good to see pushback though. Thanks, Ronnie. Appreciate you. Keep on doing your thing. This is that Mika article. Yeah, the regulation in Europe spurs surge in VC funding for crypto startups because the United States refuses to provide any regulatory clarity. So let's go to Europe. Screw this place. Why would we stay here? Let's take all our money and our ideas to Europe, and the places that they settle in will benefit quite largely, while the US sits in the corner by itself, where no one wants to be friends with it. And yeah, so like I said, it would just be incredible to see some regulation in the United States here soon. It's so desperately needed, and it seems to be that we're moving in that direction because things are really coming to a head. People are like, this is insane. The SEC is so bad. They do nothing to protect anybody. They're just a bunch of whiny babies, just like making it as difficult as possible. As usual, that's what the government does the best. We're here to make your life as difficult as possible, and you will pay us for doing so. Goodbye. That's literally how it works. Oh gosh. Goodness gracious. Great balls of fire. Texas lawmakers, last story for today. Texas lawmakers vote to include use of digital currencies in state's Bill of Rights. That's pretty cool. They voted overwhelmingly in favor of an update to the state's Bill of Rights to include the right of the people to own, hold, and use digital currencies. Texas is crypto country. It is Bitcoin country. The amount of mining operations that have flocked there is massive. The acceptance of cryptocurrencies and Bitcoin in particular is massive, as you can see here with this. They want to update their freaking Bill of Rights so that you can hold crypto. Introduced by State Representative Giovanni Capriglione, bill states that the right of the people to own, hold, and use a mutually agreed upon medium of exchange, including cash, coin, bullion, digital currency, or scrip. What the heck is scrip? When trading and contracting for goods and services shall not be infringed. I freaking love Texas. They're just so American still. It's incredible. Probably the only place in the entire world where American values are still retained to such a high degree. There are other states for sure, and they're only in the South in the United States. However, it's just completely vaporized. Like, this country isn't even like a remnant of what it used to be. People have completely forgotten where this country came from and the reasons why it came to be, and the sacrifices and the history and all the insanity. I mean, it's a miracle that the United States even happened. Everyone seems to forget that, though, and, tries to fight the Second Amendment, no guns, and, that kind of stuff. Whenever they completely fail to realize where this country came from, and a massive part of that is the Second Amendment. But I digress. And these values are only retained in places like Texas, where the individual is protected against the government overstepping its bounds with bills like this that protect people the right to hold digital currencies. Huge, massive, So I just hope that we're seeing a shift in the regulatory environment in this country. That would be massive. That would kick off a bull run like we've never seen. If an ETF got approved, if regulatory clarity got provided, oh my God. Bitcoin would go to like 300 grand. I guarantee it in like a couple months if that happened. In light of all this financial craziness, and I mean, if that happened, look out above, not below, because that would be absolutely massive. How much time I got here? All right. That is all I got for you today, folks. I deeply appreciate y'all listening to me talk about this newfangled crypto stuffs. Hope you're doing all right out there. Prices are looking okay. I said I wasn't going to talk about any of that stuff. Oh yeah, I forgot my usual Babylon Bee article at the end. Gotta end it on a funny note. This is the fake news that you can trust. And let's see what they got for us here. Ah, yes. This is a good story here. We got Congress raising the debt ceiling to infinity, million, billion, plus one, no takebacks. Yes, this is happening in real time here. And the debt crisis has been averted. Said Senate Majority Chuck Schumer, this is now the future's problem. I'm going on vacation. That was a quote from Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer. He's done. Push it, kick the can down the road. He's going on vacation. The crisis has been averted because the debt ceiling is now officially at infinity, million, billion, plus one. So we can all rest assured that all the bank collapses are over. Everything is fine. Why would you even buy Bitcoin at this point? You heard it here, folks, from the Babylon Bee. The only source of truth in this world, just muddied with lies and deception. So, everything's fine. Infinity, million, billion, plus one, no takebacks. All right, folks. That does it. Like, subscribe, all of that good stuff. I deeply appreciate y'all. And until next time, I bid you farewell on your cryptocurrency journey.